you are in the right place at the right time. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the light in you. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and sing with me. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name. Let me hear ya. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together. In the name of love.
Good morning. Thank you, Robert. Robert Anderson, everyone, is our musical inspiration today. I happened to notice that somehow wearing these masks seems to lower the energy. Doesn't it? It's kind of interesting, isn't it? When we're wearing the mask, the energy's not quite the same. But I appreciate your willingness to do that. I know we're back here again, and none of us want to be back here again. But I know that we want to protect each other, and we want to care for each other and keep each other safe and healthy. So I appreciate your willingness to do that. But just don't let it drag you down. Don't let it drag us down too much. So welcome. Welcome those of you who are here in our sanctuary. Welcome to those of you who are watching online, whether that's on Facebook or YouTube, and whether you're watching today or whether you're watching sometime later in the week. We're so glad that you chose to join us for this experience here today, and we're so glad to have you with us. If you are new to us and you'd like some more information about us, you can sign up for our newsletter, which goes out every Friday morning. Go to our website. It's unitydenver.org, and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and there's an orange button right there. Click on that, and it's easy to subscribe. You'll get a newsletter on Friday morning that keeps you up with what's going on here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for that, and please subscribe to our channel so that you know when we are going live. Same thing with Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, please like our page, and you'll also, I think, receive notifications. I'm not sure exactly how that works. And we have an app, so if you'd like to download our app, you haven't already done that. Those of you who are here can do this today as well if you haven't already done so. You can send a text that says Unity Denver, all one word, space app, to the number 833-815-9486. And you'll get a text with a link. Click on the link, and it will let you download the app. And if you'd just like to send us an email, please send it to info@unitydenver.org, and someone will get back to you as soon as possible. So once again, thank you for sharing your love and your energy and your light with us today. A few things I want to let you know about and remind you of. Today at 11:15, we always have a children's lesson online. So if you're watching, please tune into that at 11:15. This coming Wednesday night is our monthly contemplative service. I will be leading that along with Martha. We'll be doing music and meditation and quiet time. It's just a wonderful opportunity to come and be in the space and be in an energy of contemplation and renewal and getting refreshed in that awareness. So I would invite you to come and be a part of that on Wednesday. We changed the date for reconfiguring our children's garden because of some other things that came up. So if you're willing to stick around on the 15th, that's 2 weeks from today, to help Natalie in the children's garden rearrange things. We are wanting to get ready for the children who are coming in. So if you'd like to do that, we would ask you to let us know that so we know who's coming, we know how much help we're going to have. So it'll be fun. We'll have some food and fun together. So if you're willing to do that, we would certainly appreciate it. Also, we are looking for those of you who are willing to be teachers and sponsors for our youth. So if you're interested in doing that, please contact Natalie at childrensgarden@unitydenver.org or give us a call. We certainly need all of your support to support and encourage our children. So please give that prayerful consideration. Our new members class is coming up at the end of the month on the 28th. Trish will be leading that. If you'd like to become a member, we do ask that you attend this class. Even if you don't want to be a member and you just want to learn more about Unity and about Unity Denver, you're welcome to join that class as well. There's a lot of information in that class. So please sign up for that as well. And just a reminder about the Fall Feminine Identity Retreat that's coming up in September 3rd through the 5th. I think they still have a few spaces available. So if you'd like to register for that, please do. I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful time out at Sunrise Ranch. It's a wonderful facility. They have great food, and I know you'll enjoy yourself out there. And one other announcement that I want to share with you is that Unity Spiritual Center Denver has entered into an agreement to rent our sanctuary on Sunday afternoons to another church, New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. They haven't had a place for a while, and they've been meeting in another location. And we were approached about that possibility, and we thought, what a great idea. Our sanctuary is not used in the afternoons most of the time on Sunday afternoons, and they meet on Sunday afternoons. So we have entered into an agreement, a 6-month agreement, which will begin in September, and they will begin having their services in our sanctuary. So we're really excited about that opportunity. It's a win-win, I think, for all of us. And so, as I said, it'll be 6 months, and we'll see how it goes. And so it'll be interesting to have some connection with another spiritual center. So I think that's all of the announcements. I just want to invite you to take a breath. Breathe in this energy of this space, the love that is in this space, because it is the love that you are, the love that you brought into this space as you walk through the door. Allowing everything else to fall away as much as you're willing and ready to let that happen. Just imagine that all of that right now is just dropping away from you. Any cares, any concerns that you're willing to release, at least for the time that you are here, and come into the full awareness of your own divinity, your own true nature, as an expression of divine life, right here and right now. As we open ourselves up to that awareness, I invite you to listen to the tone of this bowl. Just allow this to open your heart as you hear this tone resonate with it.
Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. They hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
So as your eyes are closed, I invite you to breathe deeply into your heart. Just imagine all of your awareness dropping from the thinking down into that space at the center of your being. the heart space, that secret place of the Most High within you. And as you drop into that place, that space, allow yourself to welcome the awareness of love's presence. The energy of love, the vibration of love that expressed itself forward as you, that is constantly giving of itself as you, through you. The energy, the vibration of love that is the truth of you. And allow everything else just to be surrendered into love, knowing that love is an energy of healing, an energy that harmonizes, an energy that brings all into resonance with itself as we are willing to allow it. So allow that energy, the vibration of love deep within your heart to fill your mind, allowing love to inspire every thought, allowing every thought to come into the resonance of love. Allow that love vibration to awaken in every cell of your body, remembering its truth. Your body, this physical energy field, is an expression of that divine love. And every moment is an opportunity to reawaken to that truth. Simply by breathing into it, simply by acknowledging it, declaring it. I am love made manifest. I am the embodiment of divine love. Divine love inspires my every thought, moves through me as my very and every action. Love is who and what I am. And as we claim that, as we know that, we together become this resonant field of love, vibration. And so see each one here in this space and each one who is gathered virtually, uplifted in the vibration of divine love. See the truth of each one as the resonance of love. And we know as we hold each one who are on our hearts and in our minds, anyone who might be experiencing some life condition or situation that's challenging, we lift them into the energy of love and allow love to do its perfect work. Intelligence. Love is intelligent energy, vibrant energy. So we claim it for each one and we allow it to be. And as we allow it, as we claim it so, it does become our experience. And so it is. Amen. So some of you I know are aware of Richard Rohr and the Center for Action and Contemplation in New Mexico, and his organization sends out a daily email, which I have subscribed to, and many of you do, some of you do, I know. And this was one that I want to share with you that came last Sunday, July 25th. And he says, living in a transitional age such as ours is scary. Things are falling apart. The future is unknowable. So much doesn't cohere or make sense. We can't seem to put order to it. This is the postmodern panic. It lies beneath most of our cynicism, our anxiety, and our aggression. Yet there's little in the biblical revelation that ever promised us an ordered universe. The whole Bible is about meeting God in the actual, in the incarnate moment, in the scandal of particularity. It is rather amazing that we ever tried to codify and control the whole thing. Chaos often precedes creativity, and faith precedes great leaps into new knowledge. The pattern of transformation begins in order, but it very quickly yields to disorder. And if we stay with it long enough in love, eventually reordering. Our uncertainty is the doorway into mystery, the doorway into surrender, the path to God that Jesus called faith. In her work on crisis contemplation, Center for Action and Contemplation teacher Barbara Holmes confirms what we and others have long suspected. The great suffering and great love are the two universal paths to transformation. Both are ultimate crises for the human ego. Barbara writes, the crisis begins without warning, shatters our assumptions about the way the world works, and changes our story and the stories of our neighbors. The reality that was so familiar to us is gone suddenly, and we don't know what is happening. I consider crisis contemplation to be an aspect of disorder that prepares communities for a leap toward the future. This is a leap toward our beginnings. We are not just organisms functioning on a biological level. Our sphere of being also includes stardust and consciousness. We all have a spark of divinity within, a flicker of holy fire that can be diminished but never extinguished. So today I want to share some thoughts with you about what we do, how we respond when life presents us with drastic change, something that we might call crisis. And contemplate that a little bit. How do we respond to that? How do we handle that when things seem to be falling apart?
A few years ago, I was driving in my car listening to NPR on the radio, and they were telling the story of a young South African boy named Nkosi Johnson, who was born with HIV/AIDS. And when Nkosi turned 8 years old, he had a lot of experience with this disease, so he decided to go out into the townships and villages around Johannesburg and help people, tell people how to get help, and to try to make them aware that it's nothing to be afraid of. And the word got out about him, and he was invited to speak at a huge AIDS conference in Johannesburg. Then he went to Africa and spoke for an AIDS conference. Then Oprah heard about him, and you know what happens when Oprah hears about you. Your story gets bigger. So I'm listening to him on the radio, and they played a recording of his voice, and he said the most amazing thing. He said, do all you can with what you have, in the time that you have, in the place that you are. And I thought, well, I have to write a song about that.
In the time you have, in the place you are, do all you can. king. She said, this is what I came here for. She said, do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. Do all you can. This is a gift they gave to us to share wherever we go. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And now I understand what they wanted us to know. We can do all you can with what you have, in the time you have, in the place you are. Do all you can. One little boy in Africa, do all you can. Holy Mother from India, do all you can. You can be the change you wish to see in the world. Do all you can. Do all you can. Do all you can.
Thank you, Robert. It's a great song. Appreciate that. So I was reminded this week, if you really want to read a story that has drama, sexual intrigue, jealousy, deception, and even eventual redemption, there's no better place to go than the Bible. I mean, seriously, have you read some of these stories? These stories about, Samson and Delilah and David and Bathsheba and Joseph. I was reading Joseph, and today I want to talk a little bit about that story, the story of Joseph, and what that story might help us to understand, and how it might help us to understand this idea of what happens when your world seems to fall apart, when things change so dramatically. You remember the story of Joseph, I'm guessing, but let me just give you a summary of the story in case you're not familiar. Joseph was one of 12 sons of Jacob. Joseph and his younger brother Benjamin were sons of Jacob and Rachel, who were sons that Jacob had in his later life. And of course, Joseph was the favorite. Joseph was beloved by Jacob more than the others. And of course, Joseph had these dreams where he'd had these dreams that he interpreted as his brothers bowing down before him at some point in life. And he actually had the gall to tell his brothers. That was not a very smart move, was it? To tell your brothers you had this dream that at some point they were going to bow down to you. 2 times. Needless to say, the brothers didn't like that. They were already pretty jealous of Jacob, so that just made it worse. Well, one day they were out doing an errand or doing something for their father, finding food, and Jacob told Joseph to go out and meet them. So, Joseph goes to meet them, and they see him coming. And then they start plotting how to kill him, how to get rid of him. They don't want this little brat hanging around, their favorite of their father. So they have this plan to kill him. Of course, Reuben, one of the brothers, said, no, we can't do that. We can't kill him. So they decide, well, we'll just take his coat, we'll leave him in a pit to die, and we'll dip that coat in some goat blood and take it to our father, and our father will believe that he died. So they did that, And of course, Jacob, thinking that his son had died in the Jewish tradition, rended his garments, mourned deeply for the loss of his son. And in this time, Joseph had been captured and sold into slavery in Egypt, working in the house of Potiphar, where he did rise to be sort of controlling over the house. But guess what else happened? Potiphar's wife tried to seduce Joseph. And Joseph refused. Apparently, Joseph was good looking. Apparently, he was pretty hot. So Potiphar's wife was after him. Of course, Joseph said, no, I'm not going to do that because I honor my Lord. And so Potiphar's wife decided to tell people that Joseph was the one trying to seduce her. So she did, falsely accused Joseph. Joseph was then taken to prison where he stayed, and then he interpreted some dreams for some of the Pharaoh's servants. He predicted one of the servants would be restored to his rightful place in the house of Pharaoh, according to the dream, and the other one would be beheaded. And again, he told him that. Would you tell somebody that you're going to be beheaded? So you might as well just get over it. Well, it turns out that that's exactly what happened. He was right. He interpreted the dreams. And so the cupbearer, who he had said was going to be restored to the house, was. And Joseph said, when you go back to Pharaoh, remember me. Well, as it would happen, the cupbearer forgot all about Joseph. And Joseph languished in prison for another couple of years until one day Pharaoh had this dream. And the cupbearer said, I remember this guy that was in prison with me. He's a great dream interpreter. So they called him, and Joseph was able to interpret the dream about the famine that was coming, the feast that was going to happen for 7 years, and the famine that was going to happen for 7 years. And then Joseph said, well, this is what we need to do. We need to gather the grain, and we need to prepare for the famine. So they did all that. And Joseph, he had this wonderful position then. He was the Lord over the whole land, really. So, he calls his brothers. His brothers come because of the famine, and he pretends he doesn't know his brothers, and, all that stuff. So eventually they reconcile, and all is well. So there are so many threads we could pull in that story. So much to learn from that story that there's no way that I could possibly do that today. So I was guided to look at the story and talk about how the story about Joseph can help us understand possibly how to respond, what happens when we experience that drastic, dramatic change in our lives. And I know that we have all experienced that before. We all have. I know we all have. We've all experienced this crazy pandemic over the past year and a half that has been a dramatic change in our lives. I mean, look at you all wearing masks. Other people have been affected by that in dramatic ways. You've lost loved ones. People have lost jobs. People have lost their homes. And many more may be losing their homes as we move forward. And some people are still dealing with the illness associated with that. But many people, there have been other people in our community who have experienced the death of someone they love this year. And you may have as well. Maybe not this year, but I'm sure we've all experienced loss in our lives. Changes that happen dramatically in our lives. I know we have, because that's part of the human experience. And those changes have the potential to either break us or make us. And maybe both. Maybe both. But breaking us is not necessarily a bad thing. Because I think sometimes that change, the suffering that happens in a change that happens like that, opens us up, leaves us vulnerable. If you've experienced, some people I know have experienced the loss of their health. They have dealt with major illnesses in their lives, and they come through it, and they have said, that was one of the best things that ever happened in my life. Because it opened me up. It broke me open in a way that probably nothing else could have. Maybe the loss of someone you love opens you up. It breaks that shell, breaks that sort of wall sometimes that we can create for ourselves. It can break us open. So it's not always a bad thing. But then we can move through that. And sometimes that change just happens in an instant, doesn't it? It's like the great philosopher Joni Mitchell once said. Sometimes change comes at you like a broadside accident. There's a chaos in the order and things you can't prevent. So change happens. But what do we do with that? How do we respond to that? Do we allow the change to take us down? Do we allow the change that happens in our lives to break us completely? Do we become a victim of the circumstance? Or do we move through that and allow it to open us, to strengthen us, and to move through it in a way that empowers us? And so I think in some of the things in the story I have gathered from that we can be with that. Some of you know, some of you remember, some of you have been here for a while, remember several times I have used this idea of the holy shift. The holy shift, using shift as an acronym. I like acronyms because they help me remember. They help me remember sort of these ideas that come up from that. So acronyms help me. So as I think about the holy shift that can occur, I think about this idea that when we are fully present with our humanity, when we're fully present with what's happening within us, that can be the doorway to finding and discovering our spirituality. But I think sometimes we want to avoid it. We want to move past the heavier feelings, the heavier experience that change brings about for us. And I think sometimes that's especially true, and I've said this before, especially true in our New Thought teaching, that we can't feel the feelings, we can't go into the darkness, we can't be in that place because that's not spiritual. I don't agree with that. I don't believe that. I believe that when we go into those places, into that feeling nature, our humanity can lead us to a greater understanding of our spirituality. And so when I think about what happens when we have this change or these crises that come up in our lives, the first thing that I think is important for us to do is to surrender. To let go of our need or desire to be in control. Have you ever really been in control? Really? We pretend that we are. And sometimes we pretend. I think that there's this thing about our culture. And I think it's expanding in our culture in some way that it's not okay to mourn. It's not okay for us to grieve. You know, it has become, how would I say, so commonplace. And this is not, well, I don't want it to be a judgment. This is not intended to be a judgment. But so often, We go straight to, somebody dies, we go straight to, let's just celebrate their life. And it's important to celebrate their life, but it's also important for us to mourn. It's important for us to mourn. And I think other cultures have that down so much better than we do in America. Because we want to be in control. And I know, again, in New Thought, we talk a lot about positive thinking, being spiritual, sort of being above that. But I believe we can't really ascend beyond it until we're willing to go through it. And so in that place of loss, it's so important to grieve. Now, we don't have in the story any details about what Joseph experienced, but we have some details about what his father experienced. He grieved. He rended his cloth, which is the Jewish tradition when someone dies. He went to this place of Sheol, the dark place within him. And he surrendered into his experience. The experience of the pain, the experience of the loss. And we've all experienced loss, haven't we? But have we allowed ourselves to feel? Here's why it's so important. Because what we know is that we live in a universe of energy. Everything is energy. Our feelings are energy. And if we don't feel them, they simply just continue to gather and weigh us down. It's all this energy that we collect. So it's important to process and move through that. And I didn't intend to dwell on this long, but anyway, it's important for us to surrender our idea that we have to be in control. Feel the feelings. I can only imagine what Joseph must have felt. Being left to die, being sold into slavery after he had lived this charmed life. The life that he knew was no longer. So surrender. But even in the surrender, I think it's important for us to maintain a sense of hope. Now, I know it can't happen instantaneously, but hope is so important, this energy of hope. The belief that things can change and things will get better. Things can and will get better. And how do we do that? How do we do that in the midst of such change? I know it can be challenging. But I think it's important for us to cultivate that, to cultivate hope, because, again, it's energy. Emotions are energy. And if we cultivate hope, and I think about that, I think about, well, how do we cultivate hope? I think we do that by remembering experiences where we have moved through change. I'm guessing if you're here today, you've experienced change in your life. How many of you have not experienced change in your life? And how many of you are not here? So you've moved through change in your life. So remember the times when you moved through change. Remember the times when things did get better. When things may have seemed like they were hopeless, but you did move through it. And allow that to be what you cultivate. And the I in shift for me is two things. Intuition and imagination. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, says that Joseph actually represents the power of imagination, which is our power to envision, to visualize the possible. But also, Joseph intuited He was able to interpret dreams. He intuited this information. So he used his power, that intuitive wisdom that we can all connect to be able to understand what those dreams mean. And so it's important, I think, for us to cultivate that, to listen deeply to Spirit, to that still small voice within us, that's within all of us, not just in some of us. To use that power of intention and then intuition, and then to imagine the possible. What's possible? You see, Joseph saw the dreams, and he used the power of imagination to envision what to do with the information he got from the dreams. And so we all have these powers within us. They are innate within all of us. Some of us have developed them more than others, and some have developed some of those powers more than other powers. But they're all available to us. So we have that opportunity to embrace that and to use those powers. As we move through these changes, what is possible? What is possible? I think there's still a part of me, and I was going to say, I think I still hear this. Maybe I'm just hearing it in my own head. That when are things going to get back to the way they were? When are we going to be able to move beyond this, or move beyond whatever that change might be, and get back to some sense of normalcy? Some sense of security, some sense of the known, some sense of stability. We all want that assurance. We all want to feel the safety of knowing something. We want to have some grounding, some sense of that.